May 8, 1940, Teaneck, New Jersey. A tiny blonde baby with ocean blue eyes and lungs already too weak for the world comes screaming into existence. Eric Hilliard Nelson. But before his first birthday, his parents Ozzie and Harriet Nelson have already trademarked the name Ricky Nelson. They've already signed radio contracts. They've already decided this child will not have a childhood, he will have a brand. 1944, Age for the World is introduced to America's Perfect Family on the Adventures of Ozzie and Harriet radio show. Ricky hasn't started kindergarten yet, but he's already rehearsing lines between asthma attacks, coughing so hard he turns purple, while Harriet holds the script in front of him whispering, "Breathe from here, darling, and smile on the word happy." The audience hears a cute little boy. They don't hear the oxygen tank hissing behind the microphone. 1945 to 1948, the sickness years. Asthma so brutal he misses months of life at a time, bedridden, pale, wheezing while other kids are learning to ride bikes. Ozzie calls it character building, Harriet calls it preparing for the cameras. They keep him out of real school until he's 12 because real school has recess, real school has friends, real school can't be controlled. Ricky learns to read from scripts, learns to count from call sheets, learns that love means performing perfectly. 1949, age 8, the day that breaks him forever. Ozzie fires the child actor who's been playing Ricky on radio, tells his own son, "Now you'll play yourself." No discussion, no choice, just a microphone shoved in his face. Ricky steps into the booth, voice shaking from nerves and inhalers, records his first lines live to 20 million people. That night America falls in love with the little boy who sounds like an angel, the little boy who went home and threw up from panic for 3 hours straight. 1950 to 1952, the money starts rolling in. $200 an episode, $500 an episode, $1,000 an episode, all of it going straight into Ozzie's accounts. Ricky gets 50 cents a day if he's lucky. Age 10, wants a bicycle like every other kid on the block. Ozzie says no, it doesn't fit the image. Harriet says, fans might see you looking ordinary. So Ricky walks to the studio every day while his classmates ride past laughing, calling him TV boy who's too rich for a bike. One afternoon he finds empty soda bottles in alleys, turns them in for 2 cents each, buys a 5-cent candy bar with his own money, cries in the bathroom because it's the first thing he's ever bought that didn't come from daddy's permission. 1952, the show moves to television. The living room on screen is an exact replica of the real living room. The family on screen is the real family. The life on screen is the only life Ricky is allowed to live. No sleepovers, no school dances, no sneaking out, no mistakes, because every mistake would be broadcast to 30 million people every week. Ozzie directs every episode and every breath Ricky takes. He's not just dad, he's director, producer, manager, accountant, warden. 1953 to 1956, the invisible cage years. Ricky is now the most famous teenager in America. Girls scream when they see him in public. He can't walk down the street without bodyguards, but he can't buy a cup of coffee without asking Ozzie for a quarter. Age 15, has earned over $1 million. Ozzie gives him a $50 weekly allowance, invests the rest in real estate, Cadillacs, country club memberships, property in Hawaii. Ricky once has to collect 300 soda bottles to take a girl to the movies because his own father won't give him $5. 1957, age 16, sees Elvis on Ed Sullivan. Something inside him explodes, begs Ozzie for a recording session. Ozzie sees $, books a studio. March 26, 1957, Ricky records I'm Walkin' and a Teenager's Romance. 4 weeks later he performs them on the Family TV show America Loses Its Mind. Both songs shoot to the top 10. Poor Little Fool in 1958 becomes the very first #1 song on the brand new Billboard Hot 100. Teenage girls riot at concerts. Police have to carry him off stage in a blanket screaming. Fans chase his car for miles. He's making $100,000 a week in 1958, money that's over $1 million a week today, and Ozzie still gives him a $50 allowance. 1958 to 1962, the Golden Prison peak years. Ricky Nelson becomes the biggest-selling recording artist in the world for 2 straight years, bigger than Elvis in raw sales. 6 million copies of Travelin' Man sold in weeks. 10,000 fan letters a day. Girls breaking into his house, hiding in his closet, climbing the gates. He can't go to the bathroom without security, but he can't buy a pack of gum without asking daddy first. Ozzie controls every penny, every contract, every interview, every date, every breath. Ricky smiles on camera and cries in the dressing room because he's 18 years old and has never once in his life made a single decision for himself. 1963, age 23, finally tries to break free, signs a 20-year $1 million contract with Decca Records. Ozzy negotiates every clause. Ozzy takes the signing bonus. Ozzy takes the royalties. Ricky gets a salary like an employee in his own life. Then February 1964, the Beatles land on Ed Sullivan. Everything changes overnight. The clean-cut boy in the sweater vest suddenly looks like a relic from another planet. Decca tries to force him into folk rock, country rock, anything to stay relevant. But the magic is gone, the machine has moved on. 1964 to 1969, the wilderness years. Ricky tries to grow his hair, tries to write real songs, tries to become a man. The audience boos, the label panics. Ozzy still controls the purse strings. Ricky is now 28 years old, still has to ask permission to buy a car, still has to hand over 90% of every paycheck, still has to live in the house Ozzy bought with his money. 1969, forms the Stone Canyon Band, reinvents himself as a country rock pioneer, brings in Randy Meisner, Future Eagle Records, in concert at the Troubadour. The album is brilliant, critics love it, fans ignore it because they want the teenage Ricky, not the grown man with pain in his voice. October 15, 1971, Madison Square Garden oldies revival show. Ricky walks on stage, long hair, velvet suit, purple shirt, plays his new country version of Honky Tonk Women. Crowd of 20,000 boos, screams, "We want the old Ricky." Play Poor Little Fool. He stunned, stands frozen for 10 full seconds, finishes one more song, walks off stage, never forgets the humiliation, writes Garden Party 251972. It becomes his last top 10 hit. The lyrics are a farewell letter to the teenage ghost he was never allowed to bury. 1972 to 1980, the cocaine years, the divorce years, the custody battles years. Chris Harmon, 4 kids, screaming fights in court, $1 million in legal fees, another child born. 1981, Eric Jude crew, blood test proves Ricky is the father. He pays $400 a month child support and never once meets the boy, refuses to put him in the will. 1980, meets Helen Blair, part-time model, full-time animal trainer, the first woman who ever looks at Ricky Nelson, the man, not Ricky Nelson the brand. They fall hard, live together, tour together. She brings order to the chaos, she makes him laugh, she makes him feel human. For the first time in 40 years his family hates her, calls her a gold digger, refuses to accept her. Ricky plans to marry her, buys a ring, tells friends, "She's the first person who ever loved me," without a script. 1981 to 1985, the nostalgia circuit years. Ricky now playing county fairs, oldies packages, casino ballrooms, anywhere that will pay him to sing Poor Little Fool one more time. The voice is still perfect, the smile is still there, but the eyes are dead. He's 45 years old and still has to call Ozzy, who died in 1975, to ask permission. In his head he's still the little boy who couldn't buy a bicycle. December 26, 1985, Guntersville, Alabama. The DC-3 is a 1944 war relic, bought cheap, full of holes and bad wiring. The heater has been malfunctioning for weeks. Pilots know it, band knows it, Ricky knows it, but the New Year's Eve show in Dallas pays $25,000 and Ricky needs the money because even after 30 years of hits he's still broke. Ozzy's ghost still controls every penny from the grave. December 31, 1985, 5:14 p.m. The plane takes off from Guntersville, smoke in the cabin, passengers coughing, pilots fighting, controls, fire breaks out in the rear. The plane spirals, crashes in a field near DeKalb, Texas, flames everywhere. Pilots kick out the cockpit window, parachute to safety. Ricky, Helen and 5 band members never make it out. The official report says freebasing cocaine caused the fire. The families scream, cover up. The truth is the plane was a death trap held together with duct tape and prayers. January 1986, the funeral. Harriet, now 80 years old, refuses to let Helen Blair be buried next to Ricky, refuses to even mention her name, refuses to let her family attend. Ricky is buried in Forest Lawn. Helen is buried hundreds of miles away in an unmarked grave. Her mother sues for $2 million, gets $20,000 and silence. 1986 to 2020, the estate war that never ends. In 2011, lawyers digging through dusty Capitol Records contracts discover $12.7 million in hidden royalties Ricky never knew existed. Money Ozzy buried in shell companies, money that could have saved Ricky from the drugs, the depression, the endless county fair tours, money he died chasing while digging through trash for soda bottles like he did when he was 10. The little boy who gave America the perfect teenage dream spent 45 years trapped in a cage built by the people who were supposed to love him most. He sang about lonesome towns because he lived in the loneliest one of all. He smiled for 30 million people every week and cried alone every single night. He never got to be ordinary.